Welcome back to Spirit Portal. Thanks for being here with me today. I am Erika Anderson and I am your host. And I am so excited. I have a beautiful, lovely guest today. Her name is Rachel Rocha. Did I say that right?
You did. You got it.
Okay, perfect. And Rachel is a very special human being, and you are all going to find out why as we talk today. Rachel, I had the pleasure of meeting through like two or three different containers of
There
classes.
were there were two in-person workshops and then two different classes. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so we did a lot of work together. So I've really gotten to know you and your abilities well. And yes, so welcome to the show, Rachel.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
I'm so excited to have you here. Okay, so why don't we give everyone a little bit of background about you? One thing I will say is that you probably have always been extremely intuitive and extremely psychic. But why don't we talk about how you first came into this work, maybe how you found me, and yeah, I'm going to give you the floor and you can kind of
Okay.
open up how you want to start sharing
Yeah.
about yourself and your
Thank
journey.
you. Yeah, oh man, you're right that upon reflection, a lot of the things in my past very much psychic related, but I didn't call it that then. I was raised religious, and that was not part of the frame of reference for anything. Um, I actually grew up super academic. I got my bachelor's degree and then my master's degree, and then I became a teacher, and I was super on the path of academia. And then I was really missing my son. He was not born yet, but I was missing him. I was yearning for this missing being. So I entered into motherhood right before the pandemic. The timing of that, so lovely. Um, but he just becoming a mother, I think also really opened up a lot of my intuitive gifts and just blasted them into reality. Um, I will say the actual moment that I can pinpoint when it all started to change was I was laying in bed and I was wide awake, but my eyes were closed. And I started seeing suddenly with on like the back of my eyelids, I could see faces and roses growing, and I thought I was dying. I thought I had a brain tumor. I thought, oh my God, I went and ran and got my husband. I was like, something's wrong. This is so weird. And I was freaking out. And of course, my husband is also very much academic and well, let's just t take notes and see how this goes. Maybe this is just a brief random thing. And it turned out that every single day for weeks and weeks and weeks, I would see stuff with my eyes closed. And it didn't change until I went to good old Google and looked up, I'm seeing stuff on the back of my eyelids. And one of the Reddit posts was like, if you're seeing closed eye visions, you probably have what's called clairvoyance. And I was like, what? That's not real. That's not a thing. And then from there, it turned
Wait. You didn't think clairvoyance was real?
I was a skeptic for a long time about all
Okay.
of this stuff, which is very humbling now, which is very funny to think back on. And when I meet people who are skeptics, I'm like, I get it. I get I've been there. But I didn't actually really understand what mediumship was, what psychic work actually looked like. And so this did not map out for me. I was like, this doesn't make sense. Then through the internet, they were like, if you can do this, you should start meditating. You should start doing these things, try these protocols from the CIA with remote viewing. And I was like, there's no way. But the whole thing that was very alluring to me was that there was evidence. So you could see if you hit your target, or you could see and understand if you were within that realm. And it started happening so much all the time. And I would begin to play with it. Like it began to be this tool. I would spy on my husband playfully at work. I'd be like, hey, wherever you are, take a picture for me because later I want to see if I got any of my targets right. And lo and behold, it would happen. And then my husband was like,
Stop spying on me.
he became, it actually, it was again, it was helpful for both of us because he became a believer pretty quickly too, of like, something is happening here. Then I got into the concept of consciousness not being local. Like you can be other places. Your energy can be beyond your body. That then made me curious. if that's true, if the logic of this is actually real, and we are energy, and those who pass are still energetic beings because of the first law of thermodynamics, can I connect with them? Can I reach out? And I, again, that little skeptic voice that was like, no, that's not a thing. No, I made contact with my grandfather in meditation. He gave me information that I could not have known. This is before I had any formal training. I was overwhelmed and I was very lonely actually because I didn't have much in the way of community. I didn't have people to talk to. My husband was such a great supportive person, but he was like, I have no idea what the hell you're talking about. And so he actually was the one that was like, you should probably go seek some mentorship, someone who's been here before, because he's like, I can't help you. No, I don't. You can read so many books, but after that, it's like you need a human person to help you. So I was meditating one day underneath my backyard tree, and I just was like, what am I gonna do? All these abilities are happening. I'm very overwhelmed. I'm sometimes scared. Sometimes things freak me out. I didn't know what to do. And I had that was one of my first times I ever met a guide. They came to me and they said, you need to stop looking because we're sending you who you need. But you need to sit still. Like you need to stop going, 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 going. And I'm a
Which
go.
is hard for
Right.
you.
I'm like, I'm a doer. I've already researched. I've listened to the million podcasts and books and I've tried. And they were like, you need to slow your roll. We're sending you someone. So stop. And I was like, oh, okay, well, fine. So I go in the house and I'm a little bit mopey because I was lovingly not chastised, but they were like, stop, stop, you know? I flop on the bed and I open Instagram and I see an advertisement for someone and it was perfect. I think it was one of your free offerings. It was like
Oh, it was me.
it was you.
Oh,
And it was like, in my heart felt so excited because I was like, that felt good. So I signed up instantly from that advertisement. I was like, yes, this is the one. And then I got the email, and your email was like, this is a free seminar, but it's in person. And I was like, oh man, I didn't actually check their location. I don't know. Maybe it's somewhere in California. No, it was like 25 minutes north of where I live. And I was like, you've got to be kidding me. And so that was kind of the catalyst for all my friend Erica
oh.
time. Is they're like, we're sending you someone. Shush, 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 you know?
And literally 5 minutes later or whatever, you're up in
Yeah.
your room. I will always remember the first reading that I did with you. And obviously, I'm not going to talk about anything in the
Yeah.
reading except um, I remember you brought in some of your channeled writings
Yes.
and you were reading me some of the things that you were channeling. And I was like, oh, yeah, this girl is going places. She is meant to do this work. And so yeah, I mean, so yeah, you did an in-person thing with me. You did, I don't remember exactly, but I know you did two different three
I
month
did.
series with me,
I
which
did.
was amazing
It was so good.
to see you kind of go through that and really find your footing as a
Yeah.
medium, you know?
Oh,
And,
it
but
was incredible.
okay, so why don't we talk about what changed for you the most then? I'm assuming you've probably had other mentors too, because I always talk about how you should have multiple
Yeah.
mentors when you're
Yeah.
developing. So whether it was with me or whether it was with other people, what do you feel like has shifted the most for you from before mentorship and you're kind of floating in this sea
Mhm.
of literal faces?
Yes. Yeah.
So then being able to say, oh, these are abilities, I can fine tune them, I can
Yes.
turn them on or off. How has that shifted you and how you operate in the world?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you get the full credit for being my very first and clearest teacher. And it was incredible because what that really did for me was, okay, we're going to throw you in the deep end now, and we're going to do readings and we're going to learn. And obviously there's some groundwork there, but it was also like, you can do this, so we're going to do it. And over time, it was this process of super radical self-trust, which is also trust in spirit. And that has been the biggest assignment for me. It's been Because again, as I said, I was an academic. I was all about how hard can I study and I got to learn and I got to do this. With spirit, it's in reverse, where I have to entirely let go. I have to radically surrender. And it's so uncomfortable in the beginning. And sometimes it still is to this day. This will be an ongoing thing, I think, forever. But it was very counterintuitive to my personality to have to really let go. And so with all your classes and stuff, and you'd put us in you'd what are they called? The rooms.
Breakout rooms.
Yeah, the breakout rooms. And you would give us like our assignment or the task. And then the little box on the screen would count down, 3, 2, 1, and then you'd go into this with a stranger, and you have to just, okay, I'm gonna welcome spirit forward. I'm gonna trust. I have to trust what I'm getting. Um, that to me was and is so valuable because it translates very well to other parts of my life now. Beyond just doing readings, which I love to do readings, both psychic and medium, but now it's when I'm interacting with somebody or I'm in a situation and I have a sensation or I'm feeling something, I know to trust that. I don't bother with gaslighting. I don't bother with like, oh, I'm being too sensitive. I'm like, no, I've been trained. I know what this is, and I'm getting information here, and I need to do XYZ, whatever that might be. So again, for me, that in itself, even if I didn't go on to become a professional medium, which I'm excited and happy to be, that in itself is a gift of that self-trust and
Hmm.
not having to kind of quiet those voices, which a lot of us, especially as women, we were taught, oh, that's nothing. No, no, that's your intuition. That's spirits talking with you. There's all kinds of stuff happening. That, and then also on top of that, I loved, and I send people to you also because the thing that I value the most is the responsibility of this work and the ethics that need to be in place to do this work. I have been in other development circles that I was doing in the beginning for practice, and I was wanting to just have lots of community and lots of people, and that's great. And there was a lot of ego involved. There was a lot of showing off or putting others down, a sense of scarcity, like not, or the way that they would talk. Sometimes people would say, yeah, when I do readings, I just give it like I get it, and I don't care if they don't like it. And sometimes it was just this harsh, like, no, that's not the way that we tend to people. Thank you, though. So there was a bit of that grief going on of like, this is really amazing work that we can do. A lot of people are coming at it though from
The ego.
the ego, right? And so I loved in your class that it was one of the things I still take away to this day is it's not about you. I say this all the freaking time, Erica. I'm like, if I hang up with somebody and I have that moment of like, oh, I wonder if they liked that, or I wonder I didn't get it, and then ultimately it's back to that letting go and that surrender, and it's not about me. Spirit had to come through me, and now I'm done.
Hmm. Oh, that's beautiful. If there was one thing I could have people take away, it would be that. So that's
That-
beautiful.
That's the
That's
big one.
exciting.
Yes.
It's really exciting. Um, well, let's talk about where you are now, because not everybody who develops mediumship needs to be a medium. There are people doing mediumship work that are working in hospitals and they need to be super intuitive in the hospital environment. There are people who are writing books and they're channeling, or music and they're channeling, or are just using like their intuitive abilities at home. But you've chosen to go down the path and start working professionally as a medium.
Yes. And I'm so excited. It's funny because like I had said, I became a mom and I went from academia and teaching to being a mother in the pandemic with a baby by myself. So I became a full-time parent. And then magically I blinked and now the kid is much older and he's in school now. And the question I kept having, of course, before all the wild closed eye visions was, what am I going to do? I want to help people. That's all I know. I want to be of service and I want to make a difference. Those are like my two things. I don't At that time, that's what I loved. I loved teaching because teaching is service work. It's working with other people, it's communication. Again, ironically, my master's degree is in communication, so I joke that like spirit was just prepping me for the future. But
Rachel, my bachelor's degree was in communication.
are you so they have the plan all along, right?
Yeah, right.
We're just going for it.
Oh,
And I love that because honestly, at the end of the day, I wanted to still be there with my kid and have family time, but I also really wanted to be of service and work with people. And then this stuff started happening, and it happened fast and it happened intensely. And in a lot of ways, it kind of was jarring. And I'm so glad I had your support and the classroom setting and kind of some container guidance of like, okay, yeah, you're way out here. We can bring it here now, and here's how we sharpen these tools. Um, and then when I decided, I was like, it was the kindness and thoughtfulness of other people. So I would do between your classes. So I did Journey with Spirit first, which I highly recommend and loved. And then I had a long summer. And then in late fall, I believe, was the mediumship specifically. And
evidential. Yeah. And
evidential
a more
mediumship.
advanced
Yes,
one. Yeah.
it was so good. So between those two, I would do at least 5 readings a week, like practice readings. And I would gently start pushing the time of like, okay, I can do 20 minutes, let's do 30. And quickly I got into the 50-minute to an hour. And I loved it. I was having a blast. And then people would start to be like, can I pay you a little bit? Or can my friend pay for this? I want to, and I was, what? No, that's not possible. And it was very funny because again, I think sadly, because we are in this healing modality, we do think of it as at least for me, I will speak for myself. I want to give it away. I wish I could give it away for free all the time, but there is this energetic exchange, right? And
100%.
there is after a while when you're doing it so much and with a lot of training and a lot of education, it is something that should be
And
exchanged.
integrity.
Yes. And so after a while, when enough people were like, okay, you're just giving this away now, and it's because you're afraid to do this for real, aren't you? And I was like, I'm not. I think it was because at the time it was so fast from this like I'm a skeptic academic to I can channel things and see things and feel and hear and know in a way that evidentially it just was. There's no doubt in my mind now, but the path has been very much so beautiful. And my guides have been there every step of the way with like, it's time to do this. Or like, even when I did start charging, it was so comfortably low, the pricing. And I was like, let's see how I feel. And then they would come after a couple months, they'd be like, you need to, $20 is not enough. Like, and, so over time, it really was an evolution also of my comfort of that energetic exchange and the confidence, honestly, and also the back to that self-trust. Because this is a huge responsibility. People are coming to us in deep grief or they are deeply feeling lost. And
Mhm.
a lot of times they will want to give you all of their power. They will,
Yes.
they want to put it all in your lap and say, tell me what to do or what's going on. And that can be a very precarious and even potentially emotionally dangerous thing to have if you're not careful, right? If you're not ethically oriented. So I was very grateful for all our training and our talks and our lessons on that because
I'm
that's
actually hyper focused on that to the point of annoyance, probably for some people, but
no, it's so important. And what's interesting is I've had people who want to come back to me over and over again. And from the ethical standpoint, I feel okay, they're giving me and spirit way too much like it's been a week, they want to see me after 1 week and I'm like no, we
no,
can't
yeah.
do that.
And that is hard because there are a lot of mediums who would do that and would say, yes, I'll take your money, yes, I'll take your energy, yes, I'll take your praise. And
Yeah,
um, that's where, understanding the sacredness of mediumship and the values and the responsibility is so important. And I have so much respect for people who understand that.
Yeah.
And to be a part of the mediumship world is a little bit tricky because some of the loudest voices out there are have the least integrity, and
Yes.
it's tough. It's tough, So
Yeah.
holding your own as a medium in kind of a wild, turbulent sea of mediums is a beautiful thing. So,
Yeah.
not to cut you off, but I want to keep going. Is to a lot of mediums have different specialties and different areas that they want to work. And before we started airing, you were talking about how you're doing some development work now,
Yes.
working in. Well, why don't you talk about it?
Yes,
Tell us about this
absolutely.
development.
Oh, so again, I think I've told you before, and I feel like most mediums would agree, but I am going to forever be a student of this work. And-
100%. Me too.
But right, it's like we will never reach the end of what we need to know or how it goes. But so I'm doing the readings, and that's going beautifully, and I love that. And I host practice circles, but my real current passion is I'm a student right now of forensic mediumship. And that has been mind-blowing to me. And again, back to the service-oriented work. I love that if we have this ability, at least for me, I would love to help people if it's missing persons or if it's an unsolved case
Mhm,
and there's information that we can get. And what's really cool again is it's all evidential
mhm,
and or it can be corroborated. And the training I'm doing is with Kay Reynolds, and she teaches this and she does both one-to-one mentorship with this and classes. And what's really interesting that I have just thrived in this situation is you work as a team. So at least what the way that she's teaching is that there are multiple mediums who work together. And at first they work separately. So you get the case, you get information, and you use your abilities to start channeling information. And then after that, after a certain amount of time has passed, all the mediums come together and they start cross-referencing and they start saying, did anyone else get this? And has anyone else seen this? And I get to go back to my remote viewing roots, um, which honestly, again, is like I have such a tender spot in my heart for that because it's really the origin story. So that has been eye-opening. And for that kind of work, I am going to be a student of it for a long time. There's a lot more legality. There's,
You're working with police agencies
yeah,
often, your reputation is on the line in a
yeah,
different way. And
way.
there's also, personal risk in doing
Oh,
that.
big time.
Yeah,
We were asking Kay something, and we had asked her about a case we were going to work on, and she goes, I ultimately decided not to because of safety. For
yeah.
safety reasons, I'm not doing it.
Kay Reynolds, I love her. She doesn't know me. She doesn't know I love her. I want her on the podcast. But she authored a book, and that was my first ever mediumship book that I ever bought.
Was it the evidential medium?
Yeah.
Me too. That was truly, oh, and I highlighted and underlined, and
Oh,
then
yeah. That's
oh my,
hilarious.
that's so
Oh.
that she is fantastic, and she'd be awesome on the podcast too, because she has so many, like, well, when we get on a call with her,
Hmm.
she'll give us updates on like, well, I'm working on this case, and this one is a cold case that got reopened, and what I really like about what she helps us with is the boundary setting with
Oh.
spirit for what you're willing and not willing to see.
Tell me more about that.
So it's so beautiful because she honestly gives us our free reign of like, she's like, some people don't mind. Like, some people have medical backgrounds and they've seen bodies and they've seen horrific things. I was gonna say, uh-huh, I know that
Hmm.
you'd be great at all of this, honestly. And you've probably done it before,
I
but
have not. No, I
you
haven't.
haven't? Oh my gosh.
No, I've never done it. So tell me
Oh,
what you know.
it's
I like
fantastic.
learning. Hmm.
It's It's a blast. I mean, it's a blast in the way of the teamwork part. Obviously, the content is not a blast. There's a lot of really heavy stuff, and that's where she puts these containers of like, before we go in and do remote viewing, or before we go in, and sometimes we will use our mediumship and we will try to ask either our guides and loved ones, or we will try to contact the victim. Um, and those, it's always mind blowing. but it's very real.
Mhm.
It happens. And
Is
again,
it, oh, I was just going to say, is it, it's all evidential based
yes,
then? Okay, so
yes,
good. So you can prove
they
the validity
they
of
can
everything.
prove it. What they
Yeah.
do is they do not. So like she teaches us as though we are on the case with her. So she goes, you get a picture and you get a name, first name only.
Hmm.
And then from there, things start to expand. And then you take it back to the investigator or the detective, and then they can help fill in the gaps of like, yes, you're correct about this, this, and this. And then once you have those pieces, you expand out or you sharpen the focus depending on what the question is.
Hmm.
Um, but again, I like that because it's not like the detective is coming to you saying all this information. It's truly just you get the name and here's a face. And it's
Yeah.
just the face. It's not like a big old portrait or something, but it again, it feels like we have these abilities for a reason. We can use them. We can
Hmm.
train them. We can help people. This is also a matter of justice. And it's funny because I grew up, again, very much materialist, meaning only what we can see is real and measurable and true. And so now it's really funny to be like, no, actually, based on this case, I'm getting the sense that this person you can even start to glean motive, which she does teach about the slippery slope of we don't go too far into that, but there are certain psychic things you can get where
Of course. Yeah.
but it sometimes can end up being evidential later down the line, but you make note of everything.
Yeah, I
Um,
think it's interesting because like in readings, I've worked with different people in spirit who have, shown that, they were murdered or they haven't found who is responsible for taking their life and I've done all sorts of things in readings, which that's a natural progression, but never with like the police force or
yeah,
working with a detective or something like that. And I feel like the pressure might be different that way, but um, I think that the reward of helping would be really, really
that,
wild.
that,
And so anybody who's listening can tell that Rachel and I could talk for a very long time. So I'm really trying to keep this like focused in like where you are now and what you're
yeah,
doing. And we can always have you back on and we can talk more too. But I want to talk about the other aspect that really brought you into mediumship was receiving downloads and channeling. And I think that one of the best things about developing evidential mediumship, which is exactly what you did, is you start to learn how to trust yourself and
mhm,
know the difference of what you're making up versus what you're actually receiving and understanding it, how you receive it through different clairs, and then how to activate that trust even deeper. And so, just knowing you, I know that you do a lot of channeled writing, a lot of channeling. And I've even reached out to you in the past and said, Rachel, what are you seeing?
yeah,
What are you getting right now? I want to know if you're getting what I'm getting or if you're getting something different. And so I would love to hear about, what's happening for you there.
yeah,
And, the world is so crazy right now. I'm not going to ask you to give a ton of predictions because we could do
yeah.
that another time, but like, let's talk about what that's like for you.
Yeah, it's actually, I was going to say this project I have, this ongoing project of automatic writing has been life-changing because it's how I communicate more directly with my guides or with spirit, sometimes with my actual ancestors. Like I will channel my grandmother and she will, the way that it reads, it sounds like her when I read it back. But when I am channeling my guides, for example, they sound a little more like English and proper, and they have their verbiage is very different than how I speak. And so that does come back to the trust and the complete surrender because that's the thing that again I tell people is the hard part. It's really easy. I shouldn't say that. It's not easy to fully trust yourself, but it's hard to completely surrender. It's one thing to be like, yeah, I believe spirit is real and I believe that that can come through, but to completely surrender and relax into what you're getting and not judge it, not critique, not edit it, and to let it come through you, that's when all the cool information or insight comes through for me. Like I like tarot and I like other cool stuff, But for me, the automatic writing and the channeling is where the gems come from. Like the insight where I'm like, ooh, I got called out or
Yeah. Well, I think it's cool too because, you've always been a writer.
Yeah,
And
yes.
so then it's one of the things that I feel the most with spirit is they work with us in ways that come most naturally to us. And so if you
It's true.
if you've always been a writer, they're going to come work through you that way and then enhance it even more brightly, right?
It- That's absolutely true. And what's interesting, because I have a closet full of journals from I was like age 7 to now. Like I've always been a journaler, a writer, a poet, and I never thought of it that way until taking your classes and starting this journey was that it's the flow state is essentially channeling.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so whether that's writing, painting, even hiking and gardening and biking, whatever it is that you are releasing that kind of the egoic self and relaxing into your more genuine being, you are channeling, you are in a flow. And so I absolutely love that. Yeah, the automatic writing, I'm curious what you've been getting to.
Let's
I've been
compare.
getting I've been getting a lot of it's been all about fire. There's been a lot of fire lately. Sometimes it's more specific, like the ring of fire, like the volcanic activity. For
Mhm.
me, it's up north, like near Alaska. Keep feeling that in Japan, but water, I'm feeling,
You, I remember months ago we checked in and you were talking about all the fires that you were feeling around here and
yeah,
um, you know,
the
obviously,
timeline.
yeah.
There was also a lot of stuff, interestingly, and again, we can talk about this another time, but a lot of stuff I kept feeling like they were going to try to do disclosure, like they were going to try to announce that we know about alien life and non-human intelligence, but that there was going to be a lot of backlash. And then there were some things released, and then that kind of caused so there was some interesting things there.
Mhm.
Um, but a lot of times, I have to be honest, I use my automatic writing for my personal, like, I will write a question at the top before I meditate and before I get into the flow state of like something I need help with. That's
Mhm.
just for me, you know? And so I usually have to really ask and expand outward to start seeing and sensing the larger global picture.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's very oriented to just me, you know?
And maybe I think that there's some reasoning in that. I feel like a lot of what's happening like globally, we can tap into it, but we're also not meant to like stay in this future prophesizing place
No.
because right now everything is so tenuous and tumultuous, and it is because we have so many choices as a collective and individually that we're making all the time. And so one projected outcome could look completely different in a month
Yes,
depending on where our energy and our mind goes. I
it's
think
true.
it's like for me, there was a while where I was kind of in a little bit of a fear state, and for personal reasons, but I think that one of the things that's been the most helpful is really recognizing that as we like ascend and move, in this, quote unquote 3D to 5D thing, it's not external, it's our consciousness and where we want to bring our consciousness and how we want to live and experience life and through what state of mind and being. And I think that's more the point. And so sometimes like I'm curious what you think about this, like if you go on Instagram and you get all of these mediums on there who are like, this is going to happen and this is going to happen and I told you so about this and this bad thing and this bad thing. And I feel like what's happening is they're actually harming the consciousness of the collective
Yeah,
because then people are attaching themselves to these negative things, and what we need to be doing is like bringing in this desired energy that we want and attaching ourselves to that. So, long-winded, I feel like you're probably tapping into these things all the time, but like the universe is like, do not tell because we don't want them to know that it can
right.
be changed still. I don't
There
know.
was
What do you
I
think?
I totally agree, and I hear you on the whole. There was a recent a couple weeks ago, I kept feeling very weird about the first week of July. I was journaling about it. I was like, something feels heavy. It felt intense, not necessarily great. And sadly, I am not well versed in astrology, so there could maybe be some cool reason for it. But I was a bit scared. Like even going to fireworks and stuff with my kid, I was like, I feel very uneasy, and I had to rein that in. Of I'm letting these narratives, even the ones that I've created, that I have
Mhm.
decided to now lock onto. It was starting to kind of guide my decision making. And it's back to kind of reclaiming your power of no, I'm not going to be afraid. I'm going to be smart and I'm going to be aware, but I'm not going to let this push me over the edge into this, oh, I can't do anything and I'm scared and everything's bad. And a lot of stuff is bad. A lot of stuff is already scary. It doesn't need me to add more fuel to the fire. But I would agree that it is very much a personal journey right now. Even I would say I love talking about non-human intelligence and disclosure, but
Yeah,
one of the things I love about that that I've really also thought about is that disclosure is going to be personal.
100%.
It's
Yeah.
going to be personal. It's not going to be Independence Day with a giant UFO on the lawn. It's going to be each one of us having experiences. Kind of like I would say that as mediums, we are experiencers because we are now in touch with this much broader phenomenon that for a
Mhm.
lot of us, a lot of people can do it, but it's like they're asleep to it or their eyes are closed to it. But it doesn't mean that they don't have that ability. You know what I mean? And so it's going to be these personal awakenings that are going to go, oh. So I would 100% agree where it's like, yes, yes, we can tap into the larger global conversation and the problems and the joys, but it's almost like they keep redirecting back to the personal, back to
Yeah.
the own internal universe here. And that's where they're like, you need to focus on this. So
Mhm.
journal about this, get in the flow state with yourself. And it's been much more expansive doing
Yeah.
that, you know?
100%. And I think that that's kind of the one of the lessons in the world right now is like, um, as within, so without.
Yes,
And so
yes.
if you're starting to build from in here, you're going to create that energy and then you're going to ripple that out into the world too. So,
100%.
and I don't mean that as in like airy fairy, like you shouldn't be doing any actions to making the world better. It's in collaboration with like action without energy is pretty weak and ideas without action is also weak. So
Yeah.
it's
It's collaboration, isn't it? To do.
yeah, we're
Yeah.
human and we're spirit. Okay, what would your advice be for before we wrap up? What would your advice be for other people who are starting to feel these senses? A lot of people's intuition is turning on right now. Um, anything that comes to mind, any type of guidance you can give people who don't quite know what to do with themselves and things are getting a little bit weird for them.
Yes, yes. First of all, I can relate. Second of all, the largest and greatest gift you can give to yourself is discernment. Um, Whether or not you want to do this professionally or just have this as a personal ability, I would say knowing your own energy, knowing what feels like you, what's true for you, what's authentically you, and then learning what feels like the not self, the not you. And because a lot of times we are so enmeshed, and
Mhm.
when we're not aware, we are so passive and we carry emotions, histories, feelings that aren't even our own. And that can actually end up kind of clouding our vision and our abilities. But I would say, and when people are like, well, what is discernment? How do you do it? For me, I can only speak to how I did it, but a lot of that was sitting with myself
Mhm.
quietly. And despite how some people are like, that sounds really boring, and potentially it could be, but there is all kinds of stuff to learn from just sitting even 10 minutes by yourself and getting more acquainted with that inner voice, with those inner sensations. And then that's when you can also discern when something enters that field of awareness and that's not you, that's something else. And that is where the magic, I feel like, begins, is you kind of feel that boundary of the self, not self.
Yeah.
So yeah, meditation actually would be It's maybe not the sexiest
It
suggestion.
is the sexiest thing. People
It's,
just don't know
you
it,
just
but
have to
it
do
is
it.
never boring. It is always worth it, and it is absolutely enlivening, I think. So,
Yes,
uh,
I
but
agree.
yeah,
Yes,
but really well stated. I love that. That was a beautiful way to just share your wisdom. So,
thank you.
well, everybody, this is Rachel Rocha, and thank you for being here.
Thank you so
And
much.
yeah, loved having you on the podcast, and I'll put your contact info in the show notes. And anything else before we go?
I want also people, the last thing is to like enjoy the journey. Enjoy it.
Yes,
It's fun.
always.
Yes. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate you.
Oh, you're welcome. All right, everybody, thank you for being here and take good care of yourselves and others and sending so much love to all of you wherever you are. Bye bye.